Shalom, this is Joan. The prayer reading today is Sura 47, and the prayer is from 112. The message is that you need to do God's will. If you don't, there are consequences not only for disbelief, but for believers. It's entitled Muhammad because he made the faith. We're going to start with the prayer. Allah, there is none worthy of worship except you. I ask forgiveness for my shortcomings and for the sins of all believing people, for surely you know our movements and places of rest. We understand you sustain us. Don't divide. You've never been born human. There's none equal to you. And praise be to you. So in the writing, it says, it cautions you not to hinder anyone's faith. And the consequences are so serious that you might die. It has some quotes about war, and it says that when it's declared, it expects people to have fear, but they need to obey what the leadership tells them to do, because fighting is ordained. It also says that war happens when God's will is fought. Then it says that disbelievers are struck in the neck. Sometimes they're given grace. Then it speaks about materialism. It says that righteous people are rewarded, so that you don't have to give all of your wealth as charity, but you need to give a little. And I'm going to just read through my notes so that I don't forget all. The part, it says that disbelievers may die. They will die if they change righteous behavior. The other one said that believers that don't keep laws are subject to having their faces and backs beaten. Here's what I have for notes on this section. Verbatim, the note says from verse 1, not to hinder anyone's faith or take them away from God, that if they give you do, and your belief, your deeds are voided. And verse 4, it says that you strike atheists' necks and bind them. You can also free them during war by grace, and you can ask for ransom. And verse 5, if belief is murdered, harm during warfare or conflict, you improve their conditions. And verse 10, God might annihilate disbelief. In verse 14, don't follow your own desires. In verse 15, the righteous or paradise is promised to those that do His will. It described it as being given fresh water, milk, rivers of wine. Again, it's talking about that, but it was changed later. Honey, fruit, and forgiveness. It's the opposite of those that do God's will. They'll be burned by fire, boiling water that tears apart their insides. In verse 16, it says, deniers mock religion and their messengers, they follow their own desires. There's the part about fighting, where they expect people to question, to want self-defense, and then it is mentioned to steer like someone in the throes of death. In verse 25, it says to obey in all matters any law or fatwa. In verse 25, it describes a part where believers can be harmed. follow only what pleases God. In verse 31, you'll know a hypocrite by their tone of speech. And verse 31, also believers are tested and their conduct is revealed. And verse 34, you may die as a disbeliever. God never forgives those that sway believers from his cause. And verse 35, always beg war, not peace, when God's will is challenged. And verse 36, God is righteous, and he will not ask you to donate all your wealth. And verse 38, donate a little in the cause of God. Sometimes I forget that I just practice charity for those that are oppressed, but it does say in the cause of God. That's a section.